All right. Can you talk more about grips and loops? Clarify what they are based on. So
these are two separate things.
Yeah, loops and grips are based on the concept of type dynamics. Type dynamics are how our cognitive functions or the characters in our car, it's the relationship they have to each other. The reason why we have a tendency to loop is, as we mentioned, and we did kind of talk about this in the book, is the driver function and the 10-year-old, what are technically called the dominant and tertiary, they're in the same, what's called attitude, technically called attitude, which means that they're either both introverted or they're both extroverted. And we do go into a loop and a grip in the book a little bit more. So go reference, I can't remember specifically the page number.
I'll give you the page number.
You find the page number and I'll talk. When they're in the same attitude or they occupy the same introverted or extroverted world, it means they're kind of in cahoots with each other. It means that they can stay in the world that they're familiar with and comfortable with, and they don't have to go venture into the world that's less comfortable. Because as an extrovert, my inner world is less comfortable to me than the outer world. For introverts, the outer world is less comfortable than the inner world. So loops happen when you need to call on the cognitive function that will support the driver in either a decision-making or a learning way, but you don't want to venture out into the world or go into the inner world that's less comfortable to you. So that's how loops happen.
We briefly talk about on page 53 through 60 or 59.
Okay.
When we talk about the tertiary or the 10-year-old process and 3-year-old process. And then for each of the types, we detail 3 styles of loops and 3 styles of grips.
Exactly.
In the type chapters.
Grips happen when you go into your 3-year-old or your inferior process because your driver or dominant is exhausted, or if it's just been ignored too much. So it's a part of who you are, and we have a tendency to ignore it and not really give it very much, we marginalize it, not give it much attention. And so when it's either been ignored for too long because we've been in our driver too often, or when our driver is tired because we've been in our driver too often, that's when we have a tendency to go into a grip state, or we get pulled into the 3-year-old. So page 53 is where you'll start, and we kind of talk about the theory of what that means. Good question, Melinda. Thank you.
Hey, it's Joel Markwood, Antonia Dodge. Thanks for watching that video. You can go get a copy of Personality Hacker in any bookstore online. You can order it from your local bookstore in your town, which is cool because then you can support the local bookstores in your town. But this book is really powerful. It's separated into 2 sections. The first part is theory of the system, of the way we approach Myers-Briggs. We talk about the car model. We unpack how to learn about your cognitive functions. And the second half of the book goes into each of the 16 individual personality types.